had he not healed him first, she would have been more of a nurse to him than a wife. And that's dangerous in moving forward in relationships when you're still open and still broken, because that person can't really love you to the degree that they desire because they're too busy nursing you.
It's so imperative that you surround yourself with like-minded people. The Word of God tells us, how can two walk together unless they agree? Unless they agree. We have to be aware of settling beneath what was promised for us. We have to be intentional about not accepting anything, not accepting mediocrity, not when God promised us exceedingly and abundantly. I can accept.
So there's this generational spirit. We always talk about Jezebel, but the reality is that Jezebel came against the prophet, but Athaliah came against the king. And there are kings in us, as Micah said, that the enemy is trying to suppress and keep us from walking out. And it becomes important now that we start walking out that purpose and taking over.
Kind of dynamic that I'm talking about, trust the process. Because anytime you initiate any kind of a behavioral change, if you don't get a major backlash in that, it's not working. To trust the process means that, number one, you're going to trust that God knows which layer of that onion to peel, because trust me, if you peel the wrong layer of that onion, as far as healing is concerned, you could lose your mind.
Unlock your purpose. Unlock your potential. Unlock your destiny. Unlock your healing. Healing Keys Radio starts now.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Healing Keys Radio. I'm your host, Jeffrey Moore, and we are part of Healing Keys Broadcasting based out of Orlando, Florida. Man, we're excited about today's show, but before we get started, I just want to take a moment and send my thoughts and prayers out to the men and women of Oklahoma who are remembering the 21st anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing. For many of you that know me, I was one of the first responders that responded to that. So I've reached out to a lot of my friends, but we want to take time to remember the victims and the first responders and everybody that was surrounded with that. So our thoughts and prayers are with you today. And thank you for those of you that have sent out those encouraging words to me today. So I'm excited about today's show. I'm excited about our guest speaker. We're going to have a fantastic time talking with her. I got introduced with her on a webinar with the Speak Life series that Letitia Nicole has. I was listening in one night. I'm like, man, I've got to get her on the show. But, folks, I'm talking about Vanessa Canteberry. She is the founder and CEO of Inspired by Vanessa. So she was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. And so what she's doing is she is determined to continue to break the cycle of poverty, negligent and unnecessary hardship. She worked in corporate America for 20 years as a secretary, and then she was laid off in 2011. She knew that she had a change coming, and, and that's close to my story. I got fired from my job in 2015, and I knew that it was something that was going to be amazing. So I'm excited. Now she's a business owner, a speaker, a coach, and best-selling author, and, we're excited to have her on today. So I'm going to see if she is in here. Vanessa, are you with us?
I am. How are you? Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so excited about today. Man, the webinar you were on was just amazing, and like I was telling until I posted it for everyone to see, I got to get her on my show, and it was amazing. I'd never heard of you before until that day, and then ironically, some other people hadn't heard of me until I was on that platform, so that was amazing. Again, I'll be on that platform the 25th for my whole time on the webinar, so that'll be amazing. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit further to our listeners that don't know who you are, and we're going to get right into this.
Okay, perfect. My name is Vanessa Canteberry. I am based out of Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. I am a single mom of 3 kids. I went through a lot of turbulence, should I say, in my upbringing. I was a teen mom at the age of 16. And by the time I turned 21, I had 3. I was married and divorced. And my, family is not like family of what I think of when I raise my children, and how the close-knit, if anything is good, anything is bad, we still stick together. And that's one of the things that I wanted to be able to do with my children, is to break that cycle. And so I've been on my own for so long, and I had to learn a lot. I had to learn a lot of things that I never was taught really in growing up in a home of a single mom. And so here I am. I just sometimes I can't believe this is my life. I just cannot. This is my life. God is so good. It's just like, my goodness, favor is not fair. And so with favor not being fair, you're going to go through some things, and you may not understand those things that you go through. But my God, when I look back of all of the turbulence that I went through in my life and my upbringing, and then to turn around and be a teen mom, and then turn around and to be able to flip everything that people done poured into me, which was negative, to be able to just grab hands with one person that believed in me, to be able to pour some positivity in me, and to be able to change what the dynamics of dysfunction looks like, feels like, and I no longer wanted to be attached to.
Come on now. That's amazing. That is amazing. And that's what it is. So Vanessa, we like to get the backstory on everybody, which is going to be good leading into what your testimony is and everything. So tell us a little bit how it was growing up in Chicago, your family lifestyle, whether it was an intact family, or whether God was involved, or just what was going on in that time of your life.
Well, growing up, and this is interesting that you asked that. When I look back over the upbringing of my life, and I have total is 5, and 4 living. The way we was raised was it wasn't consistent. That's the best way to put it. There was no consistency, right? And so where's the foundation? Where's the foundation of going to church every Sunday, praying together, sitting down, have dinner together, finding out how people's day were going, how's school, how was work, whatever the case may be? There was no consistency. And so when you're not having consistency, then there's somebody who's going to get lost in that transaction. Somebody's going to get lost, right? So you're going about your business, I'm going about my day or whatever, but then it's like we're just in passing. You know what I mean? Passing, just, okay, we live in the same household, but we're just passing by. And so now you have created this, yes, these are my family, but at the same time, are we sitting together? Do we really know where we're going? Do you know what I'm going through? You know what I'm saying? And then when there's a situation that happened, it's like, what? I didn't know that. No, because you were too busy with that transaction throughout the day, going to work, going to school, going with your friends, on the phone. There's no sit down and collaborating with your family to be able to make sure that home front is good on a consistent basis. Is that making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So talk a little bit, if you will, about your high school years leading up into that adulthood where you start to make that transition. Talk a little bit about that and kind of the struggles you were having and what kind of I've never been to Chicago. I'm not going to lie, I've never been there. I want to go there. Matter of fact, I made a connection yesterday with someone from Chicago. They'll be on the show later this month or in May. So talk a little bit about growing up, what kind of struggles you had to have in those high school years, because I know it's hard, especially when you're from a larger family as well. And then you kind of do your own thing and go into it. Talk a little bit about the struggles you had in high school.
Well, in high school, so, born and raised in Chicago. At that time, not now. At that time, oh, my goodness, now Chicago is unbelievable. I'm just like, wow. At that time, we were able to, you could be able to see your friends, even though I didn't really have that childhood. I talk about it more in my upcoming book that's coming out of my journey, of my story, right? And I missed a lot of being a teenager because I was too busy being a mother to my brother and sister who are 12 or 13 years apart from me. And so that I missed it. I don't know what it is to be a teenager. And then I turned around and was a teen mom, so I had no clue. I had my first apartment, paying my bills on my own at the tender age of literally a couple of months before I turned 18. And I've never been back home since. So just imagine, I have to grow up way quicker than someone else my age. And sometimes when I look back, when I see people that's in my age bracket who maybe they did have a child or experienced some type of hardship, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to build friendships like that because, again, I was a parent before I was a parent. And then I was too busy when I had to live on my own. I was too busy making sure that the bills were paid so my children can have a roof over their head so they don't have to go back to my mom's house or my father's house because we couldn't survive. I was determined to make it any way possible, rubbing a nickel together to make it to a dime, to make sure that my children could be able to have a clean sheets on their bed, to be able to have a dinner on the table, to be able to see that mom, yes, I'm young, but mom is going to make it work. And so I was just on that journey. And then in high school, it was like I didn't get a chance to have activities because, again, it goes back to what? I was a mom before I was a mom. So high school, it was interesting because I had my baby at 16, and then I finished my senior year of high school in California because my mom sent me to California. Some people don't want to deal with, real life problems, should I say. So she sent me away to California, and I finished school out there. As soon as I finished school, I came back. Why? Because my daughter, I only had one child at the time, my daughter's family is here, and with me being young, naive, not understanding because, again, that foundation wasn't laid for me. You don't make the great decisions. You just don't. You have to be realistic. You have to own your stuff. And so I wanted to be able to have my kid's father involved and, their family involved in the upbringing in the children's life, regardless of what type of person they may be. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the children. So if I'm in California and he's in Chicago, I need to do what I need to do to make sure that he's involved so they could be able to at least know that part of him. Now, what decision they make when they get older, that's truly on them, but I need to be sure I do my part. You know what I mean? Because it's not their fault. And I didn't want to make repeated decisions that I've seen, and I know how that pain hurts. So that's a little bit about about me, and I go into a little bit deeper in my book that's coming out, and I'm excited but scared at the same time.
Come on now.
But we have to be able to own our truth. We have to be able to own it, and we have to be able to share our truth because our truth is the inks to the chapters that we have created, but now we have made sure that.
Uh-oh. I think we lost her, folks. I think we lost her. Well, we're going to sit here and we are going to talk with Vanessa. Fantastic. And one thing she brought up, which was really amazing, folks, is that part about, it's not the kid's fault. She was going to harvest that. She was going to, just harness that, and it's not their fault. So she was making sure that they still had that relationship. They still had everything going forward because it wasn't their fault. And they had an opportunity to know their father. And a lot of times we don't see that. We don't see that. I know in mine, my second divorce, for the first 3 or 4 years, I was fighting to be able to see my kid, and they weren't just going to let it happen. So that's good because, I miss that. I miss that time and I miss that interaction with him. But now, we have a great relationship and everything's come full circle. But that's one thing that I think we need to remember and be cognizant about what she said, was that it's not their fault. It's not that they did that. It looks like she's made her way back in, so we're going to get her back in. Are you back with us?
Yes. See, the devil don't like no good stuff.
No, because let me tell you right here, as I was talking to the folks here about what you said about, that it's not the child's fault, when you was trying to make sure that they still had that interaction and whatnot. Talk about the importance of that, because that's something we need to hit back on, and I know that's what the enemy doesn't want to get out, because that's one of the big things. So talk about that for a minute.
Well, when I look back on the patterns in my upbringing, and then I have to look back on the patterns of the person who poured into me, their patterns of their upbringing. It's similar, right?
Right.
I don't want that. So I need to do opposite because I already know what wrong looks like.
Come on now.
So I need to be able to do something better with them. I may not know how the heck I'm going to do it. I just know something needs to be done in order for me to be on the right path with them, to make sure I set them up for success in all aspects of their life. That's my duty. It's my job as a parent who made a decision to have children, regardless of at 16 or 25. It really doesn't matter. To mold these children for the real world. And that's one of the part of molding. You have to make sure that those pieces are in position to play their part in the children's upbringing. And that's what I wanted to do. Because I know what it feels like not to have, and I don't knock my parents. I don't. I believe that you cannot expect anybody to give you something that they don't even know how to give you.
Right. That's good. That's
you know what I mean?
Exactly how I look. Yes, that's exactly how I looked at it, and I even talked about it in my book that's coming out next month. I say the same thing about my father. I'm like, he was just doing what he was trained to do. He's just doing what he was taught to do.
Exactly.
Because he didn't know. Because he didn't know, and it's so refreshing to hear you say that.
Even though we may not know, what not to do, we know what wrong looks and feels like. So why do you think it's fair for you to continue on this pattern when you already know how it feels and you already know how that pain feels? I'm cheating my children out of something that could be absolutely amazing, but because of the way I may feel about whomever, really, that's not fair. Now, if that person want to walk out of their life or walk out of my life, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I'm not going to tie you down. I'm not going to glue you down. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to go ahead and let you take your walking papers and go. And those that's going to stay, they're going to stay, and they're going to do whatever they can to be a part of this journey of making sure that we pour into these children. Like they say, we need a village, and that is true. We need a village in raising our children. We need it, especially look at what's going on in this world today. The kids are killing each other. Why is it that the funeral home have more funerals for children under the age of 25? That is a problem.
Yes.
That's a huge problem. And so I need to be able to pour into my children at an early age, not when they become teenagers, but I needed to pour into them at an early age. So when they get older, when they start to make those decisions for themselves, they already know they had a foundation in place. They already know that there were seeds already planted for them. And I spoke about this again in my upcoming book. These kids need to know this because I didn't have it. And I know what it feels like, and it doesn't feel good. So am I going to be selfish there? That's not fair to them.
That's good stuff. That is awesome. So talk a little bit about, as you're going through your adult life, obviously that's whenever you met the father of your children and everything, but talk a little bit about, you stepping into adulthood, the challenges you faced and such, and going on through that.
It was earlier than most. You know what I mean? And so earlier than most, I had to grow up so darn quick. Oh my goodness. And I got a chance to be able to you get to understand people and what their true intentions are really about, right? And I kept my circle so small, because it was like, it's not about me, it's about these children, right? So if I'm bringing somebody into my space, I have to make sure would they fit because of my children. A lot of times people don't do that. You have to think about these babies. What are you presenting to these babies? And so with me going over my day and paying bills or what have you, my babies are my life. They were my life. They was the air that I breathed, and I was looking forward to the sun to rise to see their eyes. So that was my main focus for a long time before I even brought anybody into my life, after I decided to make a decision to go in a direction of surrendering to have a better life for them. I had to be able to go through a transitional phase to improve my life. So even though I lived on my own at 18, I have, that's quick. Paying rent, paying bills, everything. That's a lot. At that time, I should have darn gonna been in college, but that wasn't spoke about in our household. You see what I'm saying? So I had these children that I had to fully invest into. That's it. And so I don't know what it is to go out to party. None of that. But then when I found myself married and then divorced, I knew this is not what I signed up for. What you signed up for is not what I signed up for. So we don't go here to go our separate ways, because this is a repeated cycle of what I know, that how I seen in my upbringing, I seen from both sides of my parents, and me, I don't want this. I don't want this. So it was best to go my separate ways. And when I went my separate ways, I had to start all over again, right? And so start all over again, I was like, my goodness, my wall was so high now, and I found my voice. I found my voice when I got divorced. Right. That's crazy. But because I'm a person where I give my all, I want the best, and I see the best in everybody, but that's not necessarily true for everybody. Right. And so I had to go through that transitional phase of now I think I'm maybe about 20, I want to say probably 23, 24, somewhere up in there. And I shut the world off because I am a broken person, and I had to embrace that. I was a broken person from so much, and that's how I kept running into knuckleheads, because I was so broken. And I no longer wanted to be this broken person. I no longer wanted to be able to have a facade as if I'm okay. It's like you hide up behind, and I'm not a makeup person, but if I was a makeup person, I'm hiding behind a mask. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want to be stripped of everything that's not meant to be part of me. And so if I have to be stripped from every single thing that needs a part of me, I need to go ahead and go all the way. Because right now, if I'm this young now and I'm keep repeating these same cycles, I don't want to look at 30 and doing the same thing. Right. You know what I mean? And so now I'm growing before the eyes of my children. So I'm like, I have to be able to embrace my brokenness. I was so broke that I didn't even know if I was going to ever be mended, because that's how broken I was. Right. And so I went on this journey, and that's what I talked about on the with Lakeisha Nicole, that I had to allow myself to be broken in order to be blessed. right? So I embraced my brokenness, and now I need to surrender so he could bless me, right? And so I turned around and I went to him because I know that I have a foundation for my children, but I need to go back to that same foundation that I created for my children, and now I need to go back and pick up those seeds that I planted for them. And I called on him, and I needed to be able to understand, like, Lord, you still have me. I understand that. I'm still able to, to see another day. I'm blessed with that. But I know I could do better. But I don't know where to start, where to go. But I need your help to guide me. Because the map that I have planted and placed and see the vision, that's not really the vision because it's still blurry. Because I'm out of focus. You know what I mean? I'm out of focus, and I need you to help me to get focused so I can be able to get to the destination where you see me at. So I need to go ahead and just surrender everything that you have for me. I want everything that you want to give me. I want it all because I got these children here, and these children are looking at me. They depended on me. They wait for me for every single thing. Not anybody else, but they waiting for mom. And so if I'm not able to fix my own brokenness, that means I'm going to turn around and repeat the same cycle of that brokenness and put it on to them. I don't want to do that. So I need you to help me. So I have to surrender, regardless of who didn't like it or what somebody thought of me. If that means I have to shut the world out, I shut them out because I need to go and find me. Because I know there's a better version of me somewhere, but I just need to find where the heck I belong in this world. Because I grew up so darn fast and I missed so much, but now I have these 3 babies that's depending on me. So I'm carrying the world on my shoulders.
Right.
And so I went to him and I prayed and I cried and I prayed and I cried and I prayed and cried all the way through the pain. And so he started to take me on a journey, and I didn't understand. I didn't, but I knew I could trust him,
Right.
And so he never left me. Even though we stray away, he never left me. He was right here waiting for me to come back to him. And so when I said, okay, I'm coming on home, help me. Help me. And so he was right there with open arms, no judgment zone, nothing, open arms. And so God is so good. He is so good. I mean, sometimes I just like, what did I do to deserve you to love me this much, to be able to take me on a journey, to be able to answer my call every time I cry, to be able to listen to me when I just wanted to talk, and just to be able to have a conversation when I know you have the whole world that you answering all their calls, but you took the moment to listen to me when I didn't know if you were still watching me. You were shining a rainbow through the sky. If I needed a moment of peace, you would send me some water. If that, whatever that was calming to me, you always showed up when I needed you, and you showed up and you showed out in many ways. And here I am, just doing the prayer that turns into a book. Are you serious? It was a prayer for my babies. That was it. But that prayer turns into a book, and now that book has turned into something so big. And I never would have thought all of these amazing things would happen. But favor is not fair, and much is given, and so much is required. So he required me to be able to surrender so much to him, and just to say, I still have you because you surrendered. I got you.
That's amazing. That is really good, man. Vanessa, what a story. I love that. I love that. I love that we're already getting feedback from some of our listeners. That's amazing. I love that. Now, we're going to come up on our first commercial break right quick. And when we come back, we're going to talk about whenever you left corporate America and how that worked. I like I said at the top of the show, I faced that as well. So I love your story on that, and we're going to talk about that whenever we come back. Is that fine with you, Vanessa?
Perfect. That is perfect.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we'll be right back. We're going to lead off with the song Child of God from Charles Fears. Check out his music at Amazon.com and CD Baby, but we're going to lead off with it. We'll be right back,
folks. You know, the Bible tells us that when we receive the precious gift of the Holy Ghost, speaking in other tongues as the Spirit of God giveth utterance, you become a new person. You don't walk like you used to walk. You don't talk like you used to talk. You're a child of God.
Walk like you used to walk. Talk like you used to talk. Gotta say what I used to. A new day, I'm a child of God.
I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. I used to be a little menace, even though I was raised to be a Christian. Thought that there was things I was missing, and so I fell away. Thought that I could live that sin life. Somehow it just didn't feel right. Always got caught in the spotlight. I'm not allowed to sin. There is a calling on my life, 'cause every time I do wrong there's a great fight. Everybody having fun, I don't feel nice. I'm not supposed to be there. It's true, it took a couple minutes. God humbled me and I am truly finished. And when I see my old friends, they're astonished. And I can gladly say, I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. I didn't know I was even backbiting and talking about the preacher, even though in church I was raving, lacking the power thereof. Coming in late on Sunday, never late work on Monday, saying I will get it right one day. You might not have that chance. Gossiping, dressing all seductive, justify looking for a husband. Word of God speaks on that subject. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing. Even there's clearly some issues. God is right there to restore you. You can raise your hand and be thankful, and you can proudly say, I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. I don't do what I used to do. I am a totally different man because he changed me from inside out. I don't walk like I used to, talk like I used to. No, some say that I would not make it. Guess what? God helped and I done made it. I won't fail, I won't fall. Jesus, he's holding me up. I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. And I don't walk like I used to walk. I don't talk like I used to talk. I don't say what I used to say. It's a different day, I'm a child of God. I am wonderfully, masterfully made. He has changed me, he's molded me, he's made me totally different from who I was. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. Yes, I know everything that he has done for me. Hey, I am a child of God. A child of God, a child of God. I am a child of God. Child of God. Child of God.
The Independent Gospel Artists Radio Alliance presents the 2016 Radio Alliance Awards, July 14th through the 16th at the JX Airport Doubletree Hotel in Jacksonville, Florida. Join us for artist showcases, award shows, as well as a variety of informative meetings and events. For more information and the latest on the Radio Alliance Awards, visit our website at www.igaraa.com. Again, that's www.igaraa.com. We look forward to seeing you there.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're Healing Keys Radio. We're talking with Vanessa Canteberry. And before we left, we got a little bit of her backstory and what was going on. And Vanessa, as we go forward, you worked in corporate America for 20 years. Talk a little bit about that day you got fired and what that opened up for you.
I knew something was going on. And it was interesting. It was really interesting. I knew that something was going on. One by one, you started to see people, you know, it was an excuse or being picked on for like the most pettiest things, or the downsizing because the money wasn't coming in for that department, whatever the case may be. But I just knew in my spirit that something wasn't right. And so it was wearing on me a lot. It was wearing on me a lot. And so the day that it is interesting, I'll tell you, God opened up doors. So the day this happened, my head was so high up. It was like I was released. I was free from this craziness. And I didn't feel any type of way, like, you know, in bed, like, oh, my God, what am I going to do now? I didn't feel any of that at all. My head was so high. I said, when I walked, I can look back now, and I'm like, Jack, my head was held so high because I was going through a low so much. And so I'm going through this low so much, and I know that it was my time. It was my season. It was something. But I couldn't put my finger on every single thing, but my head was held so high. And I didn't go back and beg you, or I'm not doing any of that. But I knew that I was free from this, right? And so I came home and I told my children, they looking like, well, what? I was like, it's going to be all right. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to update my resume and, you know, do what you normally do, right? Get back into the workforce and everything else. And then I had just had my first grandson, too. So it was like, I could spend some time with him. I could spend some time with him, and to be able to, you know, I miss so much with my own children. Now I have this time to be here with these babies, this baby at the time. And so I was just laying low and just enjoying it and just filling out my resumes and waiting for callbacks and, you know, going to interviews. And then it's just like, sometimes you wouldn't even get a call. You wouldn't even get a response. You would just get denial after denial after denial after denial. And I was like, okay, wait a minute now. Hold on. I have experience. How am I constantly getting denied? And so they say, I tell the people all the time, no is just another no. But no actually means next opportunity.
That's good.
You know what I mean? And so I never knew that my next opportunity will be working for myself.
Right.
But it took 2 years. And so even though I was laid off in 2011, not able to find a job, bumping the pavement, not getting any responses to say you're hired, I laid in my bed and cried. Like, really, what's going on, Lord? I mean, I got all this experience. Why I can't find a job, and my unemployment's going to run out, and I got these babies that's looking at me. I can't call on family because family, they look and laugh. And when I got laid off, and they haven't been here all this time, what is going on? We got to have, you got to have that direct line of contact with him. And I was like, in direct line, I got him on speed dial. Hold on, Lord, wait a minute now. What's really going on? And so at that moment, I said, you go ahead and have your way, because you must have something that's bigger for me, and I just don't know whatever it is. But whatever it is, you go ahead and have your way. I'm done, because my way must not be the way that it should go, but I'm done. And so I remember that was maybe November, December, and I was presented an opportunity, and I was like, okay, it makes sense, but what the heck I do with this?
Well, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I prayed the night before on mine. I know you haven't heard mine, but the night before I prayed for God to remove distractions from my life, anything that wasn't next for my next season, and anything that wasn't sent by Him. You know, anything that was going to stop me from doing full-time ministry. 14 hours later, I'm in the manager's office saying, "Hey, we're going to have to let you go." I'm like, what? You know? So that's how it works. And initially, I was like, I had the peace about it, right? Like you were talking about. Everything was cool. I'm like, all right, cool. But the time I got to my car, the enemy doesn't set in and go, look, how are you going to pay bills? How are you going to do this? So I got to, and then what does God do? He sends people, like you said. And I remember I was eating lunch with a friend of mine. Actually, she's listening in right now. And I got a message from an apostle that said, his ways are better than our ways. Launch your ministry now. And I was like, wow. And I showed it to her, I'm like, hey, look at God. And, you know, and I haven't looked back since. And then obviously I've moved from Oklahoma to Florida, and that's a whole other show and everything else whenever we want to talk about faith. But absolutely, because you do that. I mean, there was a weight that I was a little, you know, as I started doing it, I was a little like, okay, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. But God had already placed the people in my life that He meant to take me to that next level. And that's what's so amazing about the way He operates. So go ahead and talk further about after you get that 2 years, you know, you take that 2 years off and you finally start stepping into it. And because I don't say I was fired, I say I was released from my job to be released in the ministry.
I was laid off,
and
I wasn't laid out.
That's it. I remember hearing that on that webinar. I was laid off, not laid out. I love that. I love that. That's the way to look at it. Absolutely. So talk about that process as you're beginning to see, you know, after 2 years, you see your purpose start unfolding before you and that vision starts coming to you. Talk about that process.
Oh, wow. I ended up, when the opportunity was presented, I laugh at it now because it's so funny. When the opportunity was presented, I said, okay, what do you do with this now? But then I turned around and I went back to God. and I said, can you show me another sign?
Don't we do that? Come on, if you show me one more sign, I promise I'll do it. I love that. And I love that.
Yes, and like maybe, I don't even think it was a week. I was watching T.D. Jakes, and he was talking about opportunity, and he looked in the camera, and he said, this is your season, this is your time. Don't you look back. You take it, you run. And I was saying, what? And I cried like a baby. I was like, oh, wow. And so the opportunity kept me up at night. I kept thinking about it. I was like, oh, my goodness, but I don't know anything about this because majority are not taught to invest in themselves. And so that was me. I was like, wait a minute, I have limited money now. My money is funny. It's not the same money, even though that money I was barely making off of that money, but my money really is funny now. And my unemployment is only going to last for so much amount of time. I know I need to do something, but I said, forget it. I'm done. And I invested in myself. And I was like, okay, what do you do now? And so I learned how to be able to become not only have a business, not having a home-based business, because a lot of things are so technical nowadays, right? Have a successful business, because anybody can say they have a business. That's anybody can say that. But I want it to be something that's going to be successful, because I already know what corporate life looks, feels, and I don't want, because I'm mentally unstable to work for anybody else. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, I want to make sure that this thing works. And so I had to get the personal development. I didn't understand. I mean, you understand from when you see the supervisors, the managers, and the CEOs going to get personal development and getting the training so they can be able to grow in their department and their company and everything like that. But just to be able to be now on the other side of that transition from W-2 to 1099, that's a big difference. And so now this personal development, I need to surround myself around people that's like-minded. I need to be able to say, okay, hold on. How did you make that 6 figures? Tell me how. I need to be a student in this in this industry, in this business. How do you do it? So I had no problem being an astute so I could be able to learn this business. And that business is direct sales. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I never sold a thing in my life. But in actuality, we really do sell things in our life. And we just say we don't sell things, but we don't. You know what I mean? So just think about it. When you're telling somebody else about an amazing deal that's going on at a company or at Kohl's or whatever the stores are, they got a sale going on. But if you buy 2 free, somebody, somebody's reaping those benefits. But you went back and told somebody else about that sale, so now somebody else went and bought that sale, but you're not making any money off of that, what you just referred. You know what I mean? So really sell, but we don't even think about it. We just do it automatically. So if you see there's a good deal that's going on, tell somebody. Well, why don't you do the same thing for an opportunity?
Absolutely.
And so that's how it started. And once I did that, I was building relationships like amazing. And then this is the thing that we do. We got this real, real bad. Now it's like, dang, the money's flowing in. Oh, my goodness. What happens? We'll find a way to self-sabotage ourselves.
Come on now.
And so that was me. I turned around, I was self-sabotaging myself. I said, oh, this is not going to be long-lasting, this money that's coming in now. And I'm self-sabotaging my business because I let the devil come on in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to turn around and revert that thing and say, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. This kept me up. I prayed about an opportunity. I did not want to be that person to pray about an opportunity and run from it. So now I'm going to self-sabotage the opportunity that I really prayed for, and I'm going to let you come up on here, and now you want to try to destroy what was built and was given to me and what is really, truly mine. So I had to turn around and say, okay, not a problem. I had to give myself permission to be successful. Oftentimes we don't do that. Why? Because somebody said that's not possible. Why? Because we feel that somebody did not support us that's supposed to be supporting us. That's why. And so now you here running around where you beating the clock for a 9 to 5 and you wonder why you still broke. Because you didn't give yourself permission to be successful. Because you let somebody else in your ear who no longer wanted anything better for themselves, you allowed them to be able to penetrate that into your being.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there.
No, that's good. You keep going. That's what this is for. My gosh, girl. I mean, that's it. And the self-sabotage. We do it all the time. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business adventure, whether it's you can go on and on. We self-sabotage ourselves.
Yes, we do. Sometimes we don't even realize it, but then with somebody who really genuinely care, they bring it to your attention, and now you go, oh, wait a minute, I really did that. Now you're thinking because somebody spoke up on your behalf to say, really, you're really messing up what is a blessing for you, and you allow somebody who don't want anything for themselves to destroy you.
Exactly.
Have
you seen it where, and this is what I've seen too, come on, I'm telling you, like you're sitting there and like God places someone in your life, someone that's there to help elevate you, but you've been so stuck on this negativity and this other stuff that you can't do, that's how you self-sabotage it. You automatically turn it into a negative and you start looking for faults or what do they try to do, what's their motives, then you can't trust anybody because you've been hurt in the past because you haven't taken the time to heal from it.
Come on now. Come on.
I mean, that's it because you're sitting there, and that's it. Let's say, I've been divorced 3 times. If I hadn't healed from all that, do you really think that I would be in a situation to where I'm prepared to be married today? I wouldn't be able to trust anybody. So stop living in your past because that itself is the enemy, like you said a while ago, getting in your head, and that's causing that self-sabotage. Because you got to heal from that. You got to get to that point in your life to where the past doesn't matter. The past made you stronger. The past built you up. This past is God using the past to elevate you. Haven't y'all all ever heard that story about, what the devil sent you to destroy you, God would use for his glory? I mean, that's
Come on.
It. Whether it's a broken up relationship, a failed business, because you can be an entrepreneur. Boy, you know how it is being an entrepreneur. I mean, my gosh, there's good days and there's bad days. And you know what? If you let your past come in and infect that, my God, it's going to just tear you down. You know, because there's good days and there's bad days, Vanessa. Come on now. You know that. You're a parent. I'm a parent. You're a grandmother and everything else that's going on. You know, you're an entrepreneur. You're a business person, you know, but most importantly, you're a child of God. And He wants us
all
to prosper
day long.
no matter what. That's it. And that's what people have to realize. There is no half in, half out. You know, these people all day long, well, you know, I'm doing better than I used to do. You know, and it's like, I'm sure you've heard people say this, and I say this all the time to people whenever they say it. I mean, people go, man, well, God knows my heart. I'm like, and that should scare the hell out of you.
My goodness. Jesus. Lord, yes.
That's the scariest thing in the world.
I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. That's another one. Well, you waiting on God.
Well, that's it too.
Really?
Oh, come on.
Ooh. You want to wait on God. Let's really go there. You waiting on God. And you wondering why you still in the same situation that you in 5 years ago, and you still waiting on God. But see, you too busy being busy, and you not listening to what He's been telling you all along. He brought people to your doorstep. They called your phone. They sent you a text message. They sent you something in the mail, and you still was too busy listening to what He said. I got something for you, but you're not willing to move. You want God to be able to do and bless you, but you're not willing to do the work. And I tell people all the time, you want to be able to live an amazing lifestyle. That's possible, but you got to be willing to do the work. I'm not getting in the trenches with you if you're not willing to meet me halfway. If you want to get rich quick, don't call me. Go play the lottery.
Right. That's it.
But
there's
it's too many opportunities available for us to be in the mess that we're in. We allow them to be able, time and time again, to control every single thing with us. How much we wake, what time we got to be at work, how much vacation time we get to be with our family. And then we work for 40 to 50 hours every single week to be able to go home and still tired. And you really, if they really be realistic with it, we only get a day and a half to be able to recuperate from all the hours that were in the stress and getting back and forth to work for somebody else, to come back home and only to be able to spend time with you on Saturday, really Saturday afternoon, because I'm too tired. I need to get my rest up, and then get back up, go to church, and then you got to get ready to shut down early on Sunday because you got to get ready to go back to the slave ship on Monday.
That's it. That's it.
So
and you know, it's just like what you're saying. My gosh, girl, I'm telling you, and you're sitting there, you're saying people, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. Well, what are you doing on your part? I ask people that all the time. You know, God told me, give me this vision. Okay, great. What are you doing to make it happen? Well, God gave me the vision. He's going to give it to me. Yeah, absolutely right. He's going to make a path for you, but you got to get off the couch and you got to do something about it. You can't just sit there and expect God to sit there and just hand it to you. Like, here you go. There's no dependence on God, is there? You can't have faith on God if He just answers all your prayers, if He just gives you everything that you ask for, and you know, and that's another thing. We're going to talk about vision. Ooh, we're going to get going. The people don't realize that, yes, God gave you a vision. He gave you a completed vision. That doesn't mean He's going to give it to you overnight. You got to get there.
He provision.
You know what? He sat there and He has made it. He has made it. He made a way. Like you said, He connected people. He sent you a text. You know, that entrepreneur sent you a text. That entrepreneur sent you this. That man of God or that woman of God talked to you and told you, here, I know this person. I can connect you. And what did you do? You stayed on your couch and didn't do it. And now you're wondering why God's not blessing you. Well, you got to get off and do your part too.
Come on.
It's not a silver bullet. It's not. So many people using it, well, God told me this is what's going to happen. Well, yeah, I will, but you got to do your part. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here broadcasting from Florida today if I hadn't acted out in faith.
Come on now. I said that on my...
Yeah, come on. My God.
Stand on your face and remove all fear. That's something that I say on my website. Stand on your face and remove all your fear. You have to stop walking around with fear as a badge of honor.
Right.
Stop doing that to yourself. Because somebody told you, or you let somebody speak into you, or you turn around and believe the craziness they done told you, and you wonder why you miserable and broke. How would you ever know if anything could be possibly amazing for you if you're not taking a risk?
That's right.
People will rather invest in everybody else. You will rather invest in a 200 pair of Jordans, and Jordan is already a billionaire, but you just and you only have the shoes on your feet. You could have invested in the business.
Come on now.
I mean, people their mind is so messed up, it's not even funny. It is the saddest thing ever. And you know, people, you know, we're not getting any younger. And if they really, really think about it, they say that we went through, a depression, how many years ago? So 2011, it took me 2 years not to find a job. And more things now that people are on contract of jobs. That really blowing me away. And so it's still going on right now. You know, they are predicted in the next 3 to 5 years, that's going to be another one, and that's going to be even harder. So if you can't get it together in this time, in 2016, and you're going to sit here and keep on pedaling your feet and keep on making excuses and keep on backpedaling, and you wonder why you're not moving forward because you still stuck on self-sabotage.
Yep. That's it.
We have to be able to do better. We have to do better.
Yeah. So, and you know, that brings up a good thing because you're sitting here talking about this thing you're talking about in the future and the next depression that we are going to go into. It's going to happen because America's great at doing that right now. But the thing is, it all goes back to that relationship with Christ because we should be expecting that. If we read the Bible, we know what's going to happen. So if you're sitting there on your butt up in Joe Blanc, America, and I actually have a friend named Joseph Blunt. That wasn't directed at you. I just know where that came from. But anyways, sometimes it just happens. And he's been on my show before too. But anyways, you're sitting there. You're not doing stuff for your future. You're just sitting there expecting God to do it all. So whenever the end times come and we're sitting there, have you ever planted a garden before? Do you even know how to, you know, it is a thing in the South, and it may just be a Southern thing. You know, it's because, you know, people can come banging on my door because they know I hunt and I fish and I can take care of myself because I got off and I got off my butt and I learned how to do stuff. So if you yourself are sitting somewhere and you're not preparing for your own future, what are you preparing for? So if you listen to Jeremiah 29:11, where God says, I know the plans I have for you and they are to prosper, and that's Jeff's version paraphrasing, you know, and move forward. But the thing is, he has those plans. But what are you doing to act on those plans? And it's action. Action, action, action. Because, you know, there's some people that are in your circle right now that aren't supposed to be in your circle. Because you haven't taken that action from God. That's what I'm talking about. Because whenever I'm on Letitia Nicole's webinar, it's about, it's about relationships. I'm talking about the ministry / business relationship tie there. So there you go. But there's people that are in your circle that aren't supposed to be there because you've allowed them to be there. God's told you to remove them, but you're self-sabotaging because you want to be a good person. Well, you know what? God wants you to be a good person too. I didn't tell you to tell them off and walk away. You know, it doesn't mean to do them dirty and walk away. You know, you can love from a distance.
Oh, stop. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
We can bring it up.
I said that often when I decided to 10 years ago when I purchased my house, and people say, "Hey, you live so far." That's good because I know that it's going to take a while for the drama to come here. You're going to have to make an appointment to be able. I'm trying to be funny. But if I'm over here and I'm trying my best to be able to be in your life and be involved in your life as you so-called one, but your action is telling me something different, it's time for me to remove myself from you and love you from a distance. I don't mean that I'm better than you, but I know I deserve better. I know my children deserve better. So I have to make a decision that's for my betterment of my life. Because right now, what you continue to do is showing me your true actions. And when I'm a believer that what you show me is what I'm going to believe. And so now that you showed me and I turned around and responded to your actions, you cannot get mad. But it's okay. You're going to get mad anyway. So move on, carry on. And I'm going to still love you from a distance. And so the same thing applied when in my business. I remember in 2014, I was going through it. And I turned around and I said to God, I just didn't feel right with certain people. And I said, God, I don't know what the heck is going on. But I need you to reveal and remove those that are not supposed to be in my life on this journey with me. When he revealed, and I said, what is going on here? That was some pain because your enemy could be sitting there at your doorstep and you don't even know it. Because they're too busy smiling in your face but and stabbing the heck out of you as soon as your back is turned. And so when he revealed, and I said, okay, reveal, remove, he said, Vanessa, when I reveal what I have to reveal to you, you're going to hurry up and remove them as well. And he did. He revealed. And I said, we're not going to carry this on any longer than need to be, because you already been in my space and you turned around and showed me that who was a real fool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a decision. I wish you nothing but the best. But I'm going to go ahead and remove myself, because I need to walk this walk by myself in this journey. And I only can be able to go and carry those that want to go along in this journey with me. And you truly show me who you are. So you are not part of this journey. This journey is over here. Your journey is over there. Love you. Best wishes. Move on. Carry on. And call it the day. Don't apologize because you want a peace of mind. There's nothing like a piece of peace.
That's it.
I refuse to give. I've come this far in my life, and I refuse to allow you to take everything from me. So when I come to my peace, I cannot have a peace because I gave it to you. You no longer will be able to get that peace because I went ahead and I just detached myself from you. Sometimes people need to accept the fact that grown folks, they need to cut the umbilical cord as well. And I have to cut the umbilical cord on a whole lot of grown folks, period. Because you are continuing to feed off of me. But when I need to feed off of you, you are nowhere to be found. I'm going to go ahead and do us both a favor. And I'm going to cut this umbilical cord and wish you the best. You go figure yourself out, let those wings fly, let the cards lay where they need to lay. But I got to go over here because I'm on a mission. I'm on an assignment. I'm on a purpose-driven, God-given. I have a blessing in myself. But remember, your blessing, I tell people this all the time on this journey, throughout not just in my business but in life. When you make a decision, and you truly, truly understand that you have something that's on you, that God has given you something that's so powerful, and people are going to look at you like you crazy, you have to accept the fact that it's going to be a blessing and it's going to be a curse at the same time. Which one are you going to pick?
Come on.
And so if this is going to be the blessing, and if you guys over here think that I'm better than anybody else and you want to say all of the craziness, when I say I've been through it all, I've been through it all. But I choose this blessing over here is just for me with my name on it. And so it's a blessing for me to be able to pour out to other people to let them know no matter what somebody said, somebody did, and how many times you got stabbed, you have a message that's so powerful. You go ahead and you share it anyway. You do not apologize because what he has given you is for you. It was not for them, so they will understand. So you continue walking with your head held high. You continue to move forward and not look through the rearview mirror of what the past looks like because your greater is ahead of you and not behind you. Okay, I'm going to be quiet.
Come on now. All right, well, we're coming up on our next break. When we come back, Vanessa, we're going to wrap this up. I don't know how yet because we can go on for probably another 4 or 5 hours. But anyways, we're going to find a way to wrap this up and let God take over. We're going to roll with it. But, folks, we're going to take a break. We're going to start off with You Say by Janice Levant, again, available at Amazon.com, CD Baby, and Igara. Folks, we'll be right back with you.
You decided in the midst of nothingness to say, let there be, and there was. You inspired man to write what you say. It's a holy book about your love. I am what your word says I am, chosen from my mother's womb. Your word won't come back void. Everything you say is true. You say, I'll supply say,
I will never leave.
you say,
Your eternity.
and I believe.
And I believe what you say.
After creating with the power of your words, you said, let us make mankind. In your image you formed man from the earth, and you said, I'll be yours and you'll be mine, be mine. I am what your word says I am, chosen from my mother's womb. Your word won't come back void. Everything you say is true. And you say,
I'll supply your every
oh, you say,
I will never leave.
you say,
Your eternity.
and I
And I believe what you say.
oh, you say,
I'll supply your every
oh, you say,
I will never leave.
you say,
Your eternity.
and I
And
believe.
I believe what you say.
The power of your words are incomprehensible. Nothing happens without you. Your word won't come back void. Everything you say is true. And you say, oh, you say, you say, and I believe what you say. Oh, you say, oh, you say, you say, and I believe.
See what you say.
Oh, you say, you say, you say, and I believe what you say.
Do you know your self-worth? If you don't, you will. When you listen to Know Your Self-Worth with your host, Lady Taisha, on Know Your Self-Worth Global Radio. The show airs each Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Know Your Own Worth is a program dedicated to uplifting and inspiring. Listen live at bit.ly/KYSW Global Radio for Know Your Self-Worth with your host, Lady Taisha.
Well, welcome back, folks. I'm your host, Jeffrey Moore, and we're listening to and talking to Vanessa Canteberry. Man, what a powerful, powerful time this is, girl. You are bringing it, I'm telling you. This is amazing stuff. I love these shows. Talk about now how, we've talked about your backstory, your what you kind of went through, and you lost your job in corporate America and kind of what that led to. Talk about what you're doing now.
Wow. What am I doing now? God is God is good.
I know he's opened a lot of doors.
Oh my God, Lord! When I still can't believe this is my life, I cannot believe this is my life. And this is what before I tell you what I do. I remember when I was first called out to speak. 3 years ago. And I was doing this collaboration with this lady on this book, and I was reflecting, and I do this so often. And one of the things I said that people will know who Vanessa Canteberry is, right? And so more and more that I'm sharing my story, people are, requesting to hear more about Vanessa. And I'm just like, wow, what you speak, there's power in your tongue of what you speak. You speak what you want, what you need, what you deserve, what you're willing to work for into existence. And now look what's all that's taking place in my life. So now here I am, a motivational speaker. I am a mindset coach. I am a best-selling author now. I put out an ebook of shifting your mindset, and I didn't even know I was bestseller. Somebody else had to tell me. I was like, oh, really? Okay. So I put that out, and now I am putting out my first book, which I thought was going to be my first book, but see, when God say move in another direction, you listen, and I did. Right. And so my book that I've been holding on to for a long time is because, I'm an introvert, and just having the spotlight on me we just don't like that attention on us. We just like to be able to help people, empower people, all of that good stuff. Right. But my life is about to really change in a whole nother direction now, and because the preparation process, it will not happen overnight, but it will happen if you keep doing the work. And so I had to make a decision because people kept asking about this book that I've been holding on for the longest. And so I finally made a decision to be able to put a date on it and put my book out. And so the pre-launch book is called Breaking the Cycle of Brokenness. Yes. Breaking the Cycle of Brokenness. And that was the book, the prayer that came into the book. And so that book will be out. It's going to pre-launch on May 2nd, which is, I believe, a Monday, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to pre-launch for 2 weeks. But not only is it going to be out, and we could go a little bit deeper into the book in a second, but it's going into a blab series to be able to help other women, of helping them to be able to share their stories as to what broke them. But now what did you do to overcome that brokenness? And that also is going to start launching on Blab on the 2nd of May. And so this book came about the various things that I experienced in my life. When I say it's deep, it is deep. Do I apologize? Absolutely not, because I know it's going to help somebody else. And I talk about various things in the book, from removing the layers. And I remember one coat that I had when I was younger. It was like a coat that I had to create because people didn't even know that I didn't have a coat. But this is things that we go through in life. We have layers of stuff that we're afraid to remove. And so I had to go back to the time when I had this coat, to remove those layers that created that coat, in order for me to be able to step into whatever that's going on in my life, right? So that's one of the chapters that I wrote about in the book, and the power of forgiveness. I had to learn how to forgive. I was a bitter woman. I was bitter. I was mad at the world because, Dad, I missed so much of my life because you took so much of my life. But in return, God was like, I have to go take you through these things because I got something that's so big for you, and you don't even see it yet, but I need you to understand that you need to forgive them because it's not about them, it's about you. So go ahead, let's get the healing started. So I had to learn that power of forgiveness. And so going through that journey, and then I had to learn, I wrote about would you date you. A lot of times we don't date ourselves enough.
Come on.
Wow.
So,
I spoke about that. I spoke about that. I wrote about that in the book, and there's another one about Dear You. That one right there, it was interesting because I was going through something with Dear You, and I took my time with this book for a couple of reasons. Not only because I was scared, but they said if it don't scare you, it's not good enough. But it scared me. I always ask God to give me those words, even when I'm speaking. Give me those words because I don't know what I'm going to say. I never know what I'm going to say when I speak. I just want you to be able to give me whatever the message is to speak it to your children, because that's who we are at the end of the day. And that's what I wanted to be also going to this book, right? And so when Dear You came about, it just kept popping up. I was like, where is coming Dear You? And I'm telling you, he's telling me every single thing about Dear You. And I said, what is that? I don't remember saying anything about Dear You, but you listen to what he's saying, right? And so Dear You is about You know, the people that pointed the finger and say, you're not going to be anything, you're this and you're that and you're this, but then they come back up to your life as if nothing never happened, and they want to know everything that happened during the time they've been away. But when I flipped it at the end, I turned around, and it was like, no, this is what I've been doing, but what you really need to be asking is not what I've been doing, but do I forgive you?
Right.
And so just various things that is in that book. And I'm just so excited because some amazing things have happened in just making a decision on saying yes, right? Make that decision on saying yes so you can be able to move forward in whatever that may be that God said, I'm ready for you to move because I got something for you, Vanessa. And you may not know what that may be at that moment, but I need you to go ahead and make a decision. Just go ahead and trust me. And I did.
Right.
I made a decision, and I trusted him. And now I am, as of this upcoming Sunday, look at God, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
This upcoming Sunday, one of my friends who I had met on Periscope, me and her made an amazing connection. And so she was asked to be able to do a show. She said, I'm not doing a show unless Vanessa do the show with me. And I was like, oh, wow, me? But you just never know who's watching. You never know who you're empowering,
Exactly.
right? And so, so now we will be hosts of a live radio show every Sunday called Motivation Station. This coming Sunday, we will is going live, and I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me, what's going on in my life. So not only am I helping people in direct sales to be able to have that multiple stream of income, I'm a motivation speaker empowering the souls of people around the world. I'm a mindset and coaching to be able to help you to be able to get your mind right in whatever direction, whatever purpose that may be that you know that you have, but you just need to get that mindset in order to be able to own this. And now a best-selling author, having another book coming out, and God gave me the vision. I have 2 additional books coming out this year. I only said writing 1 book. That's all. I said I'm writing one book, but God said, no, you're not. No, you're not. And my other books are almost done. When I say just make a decision, just stop being so busy to hear what he's saying. Stop being afraid and waiting for other people to give you the permission to say go when he already said go. Stop trying to find the vision when he already provisioned the vision on your behalf. You know what I mean? Just go for it. Just let him get in the driver's seat and drive you to the destination, and so you can be able to embrace your purpose in life. I honestly believe that my purpose was found when the corporate America doors closed and put the dead buck on it. And so when God said, you are ready to surrender to me, Vanessa, when you are ready to come back and say, I truly, truly surrender, I'm going to make a shift in your life. And not that he shifted, he turned, Lord Jesus, he turned this thing around, and I didn't even understand it. I didn't even know it. But because I held on to his unchanging hand, just let him do what he does best and stop telling him what you want to be broken from and what you want to be blessed with, and let him do what he does best. When he wants to fill your cup, when he's ready to overflow it, he'll know when to do it in the due season if you just continue to hold on, if you continue to trust in him, if you could continue to lean on him and not somebody else. Just do what he wrote the book, the best book to refer to for reference, the best book to go to when you're not unsure. All you have to do is open your heart, open your mouth, and he got that connection because he knows your heart. He is the main line calling you, but he just waiting for who's going to really listen to me. Who is listening to me so I could be able to show you what I know that you could do? But when are you going to answer? He's been calling your phone all along. You paying the cell phone bill every single month, and you still won't answer his call. You keep sending him the voicemail. How many times you going to keep voicemail? How many? But you'll pick up the phone when everybody else want to call you about drama, when they want to borrow money, when they want to talk about you, stab you in the back and everything else, but you won't pick up his call? Shame on you. You cannot blame anybody else but yourself because you didn't answer his call. He called you morning, noon, night. All he said, just call on me. If you're driving to work, call on me. If you're unsure about something, you got a question about something, call on me. If your job messing with you, call on me. I will fight those battles for you. When the devil is knocking, lock the door, top and bottle, and put the chain on. Don't worry about it. I will fight that too. When somebody is speaking bad on your name, don't worry about that. I got that too. But when are you to stop playing this game and saying, I'm waiting on you, Lord? No, he's waiting on you.
Wow. And that's it. That's it. He is. I mean, and we have to be prepared, and we have to get in that mode, just like you said. We got to start answering that call. We got to start listening to him. Man, that is fantastic, fantastic. So I want to give you the last few minutes to give a few closing remarks, and then also how people can get in contact with you.
Oh, Lord Jesus, I'm full.
I know, I'm telling you, girl. I'm sitting there going, wow, how am I going to come in after that? You know? I got to close this radio show, God, but I think you just did, you know, with those things. Praise God.
God is so good. My goodness, I know this is nothing but,
yeah.
I know this is nothing but him because he knows my walk. He knows the struggle. He knows it all. You can't hide behind it because he already knew it before you knew it. You know what I mean? But if you just go ahead and say, oh, what, Lord, I know I messed up. I know I went left when you told me to go right. But I'm here. And don't just call him because you have this situation. You call him because he woke you up when somebody didn't wake up. You call on him because there's food on your table when somebody's not even eating. You call on him because that bill got paid even though you don't have no money. At least them lights are still on. Remind you, 2 years. I didn't understand how a bill was going to get paid. I didn't understand how my child was going to get to school. I didn't have a clue, but I knew. The Father that I serve, the Father who has been there all along, the Father who said, Vanessa, do you remember I am Omega, the Alpha and the Omega? Do you remember me? So if you call on me, don't worry about the rest of it. I will take care of it. I just need you to do your work. Just do it. I have assignment for you, and if you just do this, just do it. So we have to be obedient and be obedient to that call. And I am obedient. I'm on assignment for him and him alone. And I'm just looking forward to being able to pour into more people. I'm looking forward to celebrating more people's success. I'm looking forward to be able to say, look what God can do. If he could do it to a person who was a teen mom, who was told she wasn't going to be nothing, who was called every name in a book besides a child of God, he could do it for you. If he could do it for a person who was passed around like a piece of meat, he could do it for you. He could do it for a person who she had to be a single mother and just get the backlash of making decisions that people thought she would never make. He could do it for you. If you just look at and just hear my voice and understand my story and my journey, you have one as well. So everybody has a story. It may not be written the same way, but we all have a story that needs to be shared. And if you share your story, you own your purpose in life and walk with your head held up. I'm telling you, that he has something that's so powerful with your name on it. But you got to be willing to cut them chains. If it's a person, a place, or a thing, cut those chains off those ankles and move.
Come on. Amen. Amen. So how can folks get in touch with you?
Oh, Jesus. My website is Inspired by Vanessa at, what is that? That's my email, sorry. InspiredByVanessa.com. My email is inspiredbyvanessa@gmail.com. And I'm all on social media at Inspired by Vanessa. And I look forward to connecting with you guys. I look forward to being able to let you know and show you, empower you to be able to move forward in this life to plan for your future now and not in your future, in your future.
Amen. Amen. Well, I know that we are going to have you on several times in the future. This is just the beginning. I'm telling you, man, what a word you brought. I appreciate you taking the time out and coming on today. And, yeah, once you get ready for that book launch and everything else, let us know. We'd love to help you promote that and market that as well. So that's what we're here for, to elevate everybody and do what God has entitled us to. Folks, you can always reach out to us at Healing Keys Ministry at gmail.com. Look us up on Facebook, Healing Keys Ministry. And, of course, as always, go to www.healingkeysministry.com and look up all your information there and contact us through there. Folks, tomorrow we have a great show as well. 1:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll have BJ and the Revelators on talking about that. But Thursday, do not miss Thursday's show. And I want to preface this. If you are a young African-American male that thinks you're down and out, do not miss Thursday's show. It's amazing. It's going to be, I'm telling you, Vanessa, you should listen into. Let me tell you, this young man is 29 years old. 29 years old. He's now the owner and the manager of a pharmacy.
Get out of here. That's what I'm talking about.
He overcame. He listened, and he moved in. Ironically, he's from here in Florida. So it's awesome. He's in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to be an outstanding show, so let your friends know. I'll be putting a promo up soon. Share it with your friends, but do not. And you know, because you hear that all the time, young African-American men, man, I just can't make it. Everybody's against me, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, obviously not, or this African-American 29-year-old male wouldn't be where he's at. So it's a mind shift. It's a mind shift. And
it is.
Hate breeds hate. Hate breeds hate.
Yeah.
And I'll say that till the day I die. I love you, Vanessa. Thank you so much for coming on, folks. I love all your support and your love, and we will be back right here tomorrow. Y'all have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the following sponsors: Escape Travel, 405-888-0798. D.H. Bonner Virtual Solutions, www.dhbonner.net. Angel Be Inspired Inc., 704-517-2772, or www.angelbeinspired.com. Todd Ross, Ross Group Consulting, www.rossgroupconsultingllc.com.
Do you know your self-worth? If you don't, you will. When you listen to Know Your Self-Worth with your host, Lady Taisha, on Know Your Self-Worth Global Radio. The show airs each Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Know Your Own Worth is a program dedicated to uplifting and inspiring. Listen live at bit.ly/KYSW Global Radio. For Know Your Self-Worth with your host, Lady Taisha.
The Independent Gospel Artist Radio Alliance presents the 2016 Radio Alliance Awards, July 14th through the 16th at the JX Airport Doubletree Hotel in Jacksonville, Florida. Join us for artist showcases, award shows, as well as a variety of informative meetings and events. For more information and the latest on the Radio Alliance Awards, visit our website at www.igaraa.com. Again, that's www.igaraa.com.